Now, when people put into those qualified funds, they're choosing to do that, right? They're making sacrifices. But typically, they put a lot more into their home. Usually, paying off a home mortgage, they're paying 25 to 40% of their income towards the mortgage, right? So that's a bigger sacrifice. They feel it more. So they're almost more tied to, I worked so hard. I sacrificed for 30 years to pay this thing off. And I think that is part of the reason they see home equity as so much more valuable and something to hold on to, right? And so it's one of the questions you asked earlier is, why don't people want to touch it? What are the negative connotations? It's just the fact that they work so hard to pay it off. They don't see that the money they put in their other liquid assets was also a sacrifice as much, right? So they're willing to spend those more so. Now, at the end of their life, if they've spent that entire, let's say 401k, and so they pass on, do their kids say, can you believe that my grandmother paid into that 401k her entire life? And then at the end, it was gone. They took all of that money out and I didn't get a dime. Why would you ever put money into a product like that? Why would you ever have a 401k? Nobody says that, right? It's expected. You put into it, then you spend it.
Right.
But there's an adage about home equity that once you put into it and pay for it, you don't ever want to take it back out for some reason. And that if you have a reverse mortgage on it, can you believe that they took all of her equity away? They don't see it as a spending tool, right? And so at the end of life, an heirs maybe receive a property, didn't know there was a reverse mortgage on it. Forget about the lavish vacation grandma maybe took the family on. Grandma lived a nice life and she wasn't calling on her kids for help, right? The kids didn't have to come over to cook all of her meals and clean her house because she was able to pay for services. She used her equity to live well and not depend on other people. But when they don't know that and they inherit her home and all of a sudden, what? Grandma's home isn't free and clear. I don't get a free home. They took her equity, right? This is where some of the negative connotations come about, not seeing the value of that money and just seeing it as, a bank taking something away.